Okay, everyone, welcome once again to another episode of Body Mastery with Stan. And we are in the month of November. We are moving into the holidays. And what happens during the holidays, Stan?
We get together, we bring our thoughts, our character, we bring our traditions, we bring our perception of the world as we see it, we bring our perception of ourselves as we see it, and then the world around us and the dynamic around that, I think, becomes more complex as time goes on, and it can be very challenging to the mind, and it does create some stresses.
Mm. Yeah, during these times, it brings up a lot of different emotions for us, emotions pertaining to our family. Some of us have issues with different parts of our family. Some of us are missing family. Some of us have lost family. And at this point, it just becomes so much more impactful, whether it be memories, that feeling of loss, or even that sense of trying to figure out a new way to move forward with our family, a new way to come together with our family. We've been through a lot of trials and tribulations over the past couple of years that has strained family dynamics. And I don't know about you, but whenever there's tension and stress in my life, in my emotional life, it starts to appear within my physiology. It starts to lock up different areas of my spine, especially my lower back.
Mhm.
And for some people, it's in the shoulder areas. For some people, it's within the digestive system. So, what are some things that you could share with us, Stan, to help us with that angst, that tension, that mm,
Well, you bring up a great point, and that is the truth that the body does keep the score. And
mm-hmm,
there are so many of my clients that they have gone through a testing period, or an anxious period, or a conversation that they wanted to have or they knew they needed to have, and they get
mm-hmm,
a knot in their neck or in their back, or they get a headache, like you said, in your stomach. So your stomach is basically your second brain. And
mm-hmm,
if you ever say that, I've got a headache in my stomach, as a little kid, or they say I have a stomach ache in my head, and and there's a real reality behind that statement. It's the best way they can describe it, but they're actually describing it in the best terminology because they're so connected. And so when you understand that the body is a unit,
mm-hmm.
pain does not surface from its source. 98% of pain in the body, wherever it surfaces, that's not where it came from.
Hmm.
And so when we're thinking and we're anxious and we're overwhelmed or overloaded,
Mm-hmm.
am I making the sweet potato casserole the correct way, or are they going to like it? Am I dressed
Mm-hmm.
right? Don't act up today, kids, please. And all of those dynamics, all of those things release chemicals of stress in our body. Well, those chemicals go somewhere. So if your
Mm-hmm.
cortisol level rises up beyond the ability, or person that's going to be there at the dinner that get already found your last nerve last time you saw them, and you didn't realize that you had that last nerve, but they easily found it.
Mm-hmm.
You anticipate. So when we anticipate, um, then we create those hormones of stress. And
Mm-hmm.
so, animals don't do this. Only humans do. So picture a zebra running across the plain from a lion.
Mm-hmm.
For 15 minutes, the chase goes on. Finally, the lion gives up. The zebra then goes back to drinking water like nothing happened. Humans, the smarter being, right? They
Supposedly.
imagine, they imagine the lion or the other person. I won't say, a particular anything.
Mhm.
I would just say that they imagine. And now those stress hormones go on for hours and hours before the event, during the event, and after the event, even if nothing happened.
Yeah.
And now your body is trying to process all of that with all the this junk that we eat on top of it. Now we've got an inflamed system. Our blood is not really properly being delivered.
Mhm.
And now we've got hormone chemicals that of stress pumping through our system, going into our muscles. And guess what? It tightens up. So, one of the things that I can suggest and that I do is I ask this question: is them being there or not being there really going to matter?
Mhm.
And if it isn't, in the scheme of things, then can I just look the other way and smile for
Mhm.
this amount of time?
Mhm.
And then getting in the present, and I do this through breath work. So when I take a breath and I actually place my hands on my heart, that connection, that body connection, it kind of takes us back to infancy
Mhm.
when we had skin contact,
Yeah.
that in the real connection there of that skin contact. So I place my hands there and I just breathe in through my nose, close my eyes, breathe in through my nose 5 seconds and hold it 5 seconds. And I'm counting. Now I cannot think about yesterday to the earlier today or even tomorrow. And I do that 3 times. I can actually control that cortisol,
Mhm.
reduce those hormones of stress, and then answer that question in a more practical and a more stable
Mhm.
manner and say, no, it does not matter that they are going to be there. I am not going to give my power
Mhm.
anything outside. I mean, it's hard enough for me to control me,
Yeah.
let me to control someone else, right? So I gotta treat myself in the best manner that I can. And it may sound like, well, Stan, it's not that easy. It's easier said than done. And my answer back to that is it is only as easy as you make it.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. Why is this happening for me, not to me? What is inside of me? So one thing that I discovered um as I do a lot of detoxes, and the first time I did this detox with cilantro, I hated cilantro. I mean, I had to put a cup of cilantro into this heavy metal detox, and it gave me heartburn just chopping it up. I mean, I hate cilantro that much, right? I'm like nauseous, but I'm gonna follow through. I put it in,
Uh-huh.
blend it up. I'm thinking I'm gonna plug my nose and drink this. I drank it, and I'm like, that wasn't bad at all. Now I don't even measure cilantro. I just take a whole bunch,
Yeah.
throw it in one
Put into.
smoothie, like the
Mhm.
whole thing. So I
Mhm.
think there's probably 2 cups in a, chopped up real fine.
Yeah.
And I put the whole thing in. What I understand is that my body needed it. That's why it was repelling it.
Mhm.
So, what is it about the gathering that I need that my body is repelling? Because
Mhm.
if I fight it, then I'm going to have that pain in my neck or my, and we can really say they found our last nerve and they are a pain in our, and
Yeah.
we'll just use neck for the sake of
Uh-huh. Pain in the
audience.
neck. Mhm.
And what is it about them that is showing me something in me that
Mhm.
needs to be challenged?
Yeah.
And and if I can look at it, and it's not always easy. Okay. There are some people that just really find your last nerve.
Mhm.
But what is it about my interaction that can actually, if I can overcome that, then I release myself to have a greater experience, enjoy the meal better. And, you know, misery loves company. I don't want to be company to misery.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I hope that answers in a
Yeah.
long way.
So to recap and summarize, the first thing is to become aware of ourselves being impacted by even the thought of an upcoming event. And
Yes.
many of us are facing that particular situation as we think about the upcoming gatherings at either the Thanksgiving dinner table or the Christmas or whatever it is. And as we start to become aware of that, to allow ourselves to enter into a different conversation with our being by
Mhm.
placing our hands over our heart center and just taking a moment to breathe in deeply for 5 counts. And as we allow ourselves to experience that breath, pay attention as that inner knowing within you is able to share with you how this experience is working for the good,
Yeah,
how this experience is allowing you the opportunity to experience that which can move you towards wholeness, move you towards reconciliation, move you towards peace.
exactly.
And that, my dear ladies and gents, is our body hack for this month.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for joining us again, and we look forward to seeing you next month. Yay!
Without stress.
Without, well, without allowing that to just seep in